Alright, another quick one here. I'm going to go over what I consider seconds. Now that these are a little cleaner, probably be a little easier to see. These aren't quite as shiny as those other ones. I ended up needing to clean my pins. So, did that after this batch. But they're still not bad. Now these seconds I consider shootable. There are some that are no, just remelt them. But that's like probably less than 1%. Alright, let's start out with, let's see what I got here. Folded tip. Let's get this focused. Alright, this is common. That's a folded tip. So just instead of stretching and swaging in, new shape, it just folded. You can shoot these, most of them anyway. This is probably the most common thing. It's usually under annealed brass. Let's see, I got a few different ones here. I mean, some of them are barely noticeable, and others are just huge. This one is really folded and it's got these. This is another thing I ran into, and I've pretty much eliminated that. One, I went back to using a cool point forming die with minimal lube, just enough. Pretty much what's left over from core seating, instead of wiping it off, I've just been using that, and if one starts to stick, I'll lube the next one just a little bit. Let's see what I got next. Well, that leads us to those, actually. Come on. This. And the other thing I found that causes it is the speed of your stroke. Once you get it figured out and get that nice, steady speed that it wants, they start coming out like this. You know, jeez. Okay, that one's got an itty bitty one, but only one. You know, once you got that down, you pretty much got those eliminated. Like that one's folded. It's got those. It's pretty ugly. Plinking rounds is what, you know, I put these in another jug, and they'll be plinking rounds. Another folded tip, but really this one has two problems. This is that horizontal split in the base I was talking about. You can see the lead. Some, once it's formed, you can barely see it, and some it's like that. It's kind of like powder coat. You got a little chunk out of the base. Not a big deal, really. Oh. Like that one. That one's, most of it's a little less noticeable. Now to the eye, naked eye, this one, you can just pick it out. But in the camera, it shows up a whole lot better. Wow. And this one's even smaller. And then sometimes they get like this. I'll shoot it, see what happens. It's like having a big old chunk of powder coat missing, only these are probably 6 BHN. I don't get a lot like this. They're mostly like those other little other ones. think the tips look good. But yeah, the base is limiting how deep I set my core seating, and I can minimize that a lot. The folded tips, get a few that aren't annealed quite fully, or something happens. That's the most common thing. And the dimples and stuff. Really, like I said, I changed how I kind of quit really warming the dies quite as much. It's warming up a little bit more here. It's maybe 60 degrees here instead of 40, 50. Dies are just a little cool to the touch instead of cold. They made a difference, I think. And a decent amount of lube when you're seating the cores, and as minimal as possible when you're forming the points. And getting the speed and steadiness during point forming, can't stress that one enough. That makes as much difference, if not more. And a little too fast, a little too slow, screw things up. When you get going and you get it right and you just go, okay, you just keep at it, and the longer you keep at it, the more stable you can stay. But yeah, I say I'll seat a bunch of cords, go take a break, at that point, a good stopping point, Like I said, this tray holds 315. That's, I figure 300, and that is a 5% disaster factor. I lose 15, that's 5 per 100, that's 5%. And lately, I haven't been too far off that. 6-7%. And really, some of those are, I go to form the point, it'll cock a little in my hand and catch the bottom of the die and crush the mouth. And there's just no coming back from that. You're not forming a point out of that. Or that. I think you see with a big picture of this one. But yeah, melt them down, big deal. Oh, whoops. Dropping stuff. But what I did, 700-800 in the last few days. I think it was a couple days I did it. Seating and forming. And I probably crushed less than a dozen like that. And I still came out with somewhere between 5 and 7% loss per batch. I do 2 or 3. A couple of them weren't quite full. I ran out of cases or cores, but there were at least 275. I did, I think, a full one about 275 and one around 300. So I didn't lose too many. I'm getting better at it. So, and it seems there's always something going, well, I thought this was the answer to something, and well, it may have been. And the heavy ones may react different because there's more space to fill up with lead before everything starts forming. And I don't know, when I get back to doing those, I have to figure that out all over again. I may find there's one set of rules for 55 grain 22 long rifles and another set of rules for everything else after a certain length or a certain weight, or just because these casings are thicker. Well, at least the 17 HMR 22 in mags. I think the thickness varies a little bit more in the case walls. Some of them are the same as the 22 long rifles, but cut them down the same length and there'd be a little variation, so there's got to be something to it. That's another, okay, each one could have its own little tweak to the rules in itself, so yeah, that's a little more challenging is all. Actually I found some, I'm not sure if they're actually 22 long rifles or just some flukes. The casings are actually a little extra long, unless they're super long. Would that be it? Seems I've heard something about that. I've got just a few, and they are, you can see it. They're like a extra long 22 long rifle. So those will be something completely different. Those would make nice 65s, I bet. Too bad I don't have like handfuls of them. But yeah, figured I'd share that one thing with you, and then rambled on, so it's not quite as short as I was thinking, I guess. Oh well, right? All right. Well, I'll see you sometime. God bless.